Hello, good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. This bulletin is coming to you live from the Joy 99.7 FM studios, Kokomlemle in Accra, at digital address GA0993341. Also live on Love 99.5 FM in Kumasi, affiliates across the country, including Volta Premier in Ho, Radio 123 in Tamale, A1 Radio in Bolgatanga. It's on ABN Radio in London and around the world at myjoyonline.com. The news is brought to you by UMB Bank, UMB Speed Up, Digibank, Let's Go, and SuperSem. Build your dream. In this edition, Acting Inspector General of Police meets families of missing Takoradi girls as police forensics team prepares to take DNA samples from family members. We'll get you live updates.
I am very ready to avail myself for the DNA test.
Poorly resourced border officials along Ghana's borders in the Oti region struggling to distinguish Ghanaians from non-Ghanaians. We've got details as it emerges. At one border post, the team of immigration officers has only one gun, that's a pistol. No chairs and no desks to study. We'll tell you how pupils of Calvio Basic School in the Upper East region are forced to lie on the bare floor to study.
They are supposed to be doctors like us. As the lawyers, journalists, and what have you, other professions. And you ask yourself, how do they get there? Where is the opening? Where is the hope?
More as an NGO One City for Change partners with the Joy FM Super Morning Show to bring relief to these pupils. Also in sports,
the GFA Normalization Committee postpones extraordinary Congress to fully comply with relevant provisions of the statutes of the GFA without ambiguity.
And also in this bulletin, tracking political promises. Joy News rolls out series highlighting assurances by the president and what the reality is on the ground.
Every constituency from next year onwards is going to take the equivalent of $1 billion.
Will stabilize the sinking sea.
Dear Nanado, it's coming up. We'll give you more details here on the Midday News with me, Emefa Apau. In our very first story for this afternoon, the Acting Inspector General of Police, James Opombueno, has been meeting families of the three missing Takoradi girls as police forensics team prepares to take DNA samples from family members starting tomorrow. The samples will be taken to aid the team ascertain if some human remains found in the former home or prime suspect Samuel Odotek Wills belongs to the three girls who have been missing for a year now. Regional correspondent for the Daily Guide newspaper, Emmanuel Opoku, is traveling with the IGP and brings us details of that meeting.
The IGP is in town to visit the family members of the kidnapped girls in Takoradi. All the meetings were held behind closed doors. But after the meeting, we interacted with the family members and they told us that the IGP was there to commiserate with them and then encourage them to avail themselves for the DNA test, which can, in a way, put finality to the circumstances surrounding the missing girls. All the family members have agreed to avail themselves or to cooperate with the DNA. They are even saying that even if the IGP told them that even today they have to avail themselves for the test, they will do it. But the IGP told them that from tomorrow, those who will be conducting the test will be around and then they will be doing the test.
So you heard that report there from the IGP's visit, but we can hear from Mr. Francis Bentum, his father of Priscilla Blessing Bentum, the first girl to have gone missing.
I am ready to do the DNA test, even today. If you believe in God, you will not fear.
Because Sanya Obapim. Oh, Sisi Amboso Manjame. Sisi, I walk here and also Kofna Bala.
Even if they say we should do it today, I would avail myself. I want all the family to do same.
I'm asking you, Waba. Oh, gonna fina. Emma, because Sanya and gonna fuma, I am about to make the gonna fuma more. Because no quality, I call.
Francis Bentum is father of Priscilla Blessing Bentum. To the Ashanti region now, where police sources have discounted new reports of suspected killing of women at Santasi Apre in Kumasi. The Ashanti Regional Security Council revealed last week police have arrested some suspects in connection with what appears to be serial killing of women in parts of the region. Now, subsequently, Love News carried a report in which residents of Santasi Apre reported the killing of at least 2 women in the community, causing fear and panic among them. Police are are yet to comment on the development, but highly placed sources say what the community is reporting is part of ongoing investigations. Let's speak to Love FM's Erastus Asare-Donkor for more on this. So, Erastus, you've been closely following this issue. What more have you picked up?
Well, so we went to the community. There is so much fear and panic in there due to the bodies of 2 women who have been found in the last 1.5 months. Though police say that there is no fresh bodies found, and that the 2 that the Santasia residents are talking about are part of ongoing investigations. Our source within the police service also indicates that they have arrested some people in connection with these murders, and investigations are continuing. But then when you go to the communities, people are very scared because they claim that the 2 bodies that were found are interlinked. That is the way they were found, with a bench in between their neck and their lower torso, and the ones that were found also close to the Roman Catholic site. They are similar in the way they were placed, and so it's causing so much fear within the community.
Well, just for clarification, though, you know, last week when we reported about the Regional Security Council meeting, they mentioned that the others that we've witnessed or heard about, the 5 cases, appear to be serial killings. So this issue in Apres Santase, are they saying that this one is not part of the 5 cases, or this is different?
Well, that is what they are saying, that the 2 we are talking about are part of the ongoing investigations into the 5 that they held a press conference on, and that there have been no new cases reported, as the residents are saying.
Thanks for that clarification. Erastus Asare-Donkor, they're following that issue, as and when we get the very latest, we'll bring it to you. This is the Midday News here on Joy 99.7 FM. Now, some border officials deployed in the Oti region of Ghana say the lack of logistics is seriously affecting their work. In our series highlighting the state of Ghana's entry points dubbed porous borders, correspondent Peter Senu visited 4 border posts in the Kajebi district and reports one of the main challenges to border control there is the inability of officials to distinguish Ghanaians from non-Ghanaians at their various posts.
We began our checks on border posts at the Kechi outpost in the Jasikan district, which is under the Nkwanta Sector Command. A visit to the border post would leave one in search of. Apart from the main or approved border that is managed by immigration officers, there are the outposts too, which anyone can use to exit or leave the country without any checks. Some officers who declined to be named described the situation as dire.
We need men and a lot of logistics. Sometimes we patrol from here to Bethel. If in that place there is a bridge that they just passed there. So when we went, our boss went and laid it before the DC that if they can give us a structure there, it would be good to station some of our people there. But all boils down to fines.
So your motorbike, you fuel it yourself?
We fuel it ourselves. Here, you have covered yourself like you see. Usually I'm wearing shorts.
The uncle flights.
There is something at Obuas, there is something at Amaso. The rest they will be there, no, then they will come. So in the evening, you can't move without a torch.
This is the Kechi outpost of the Ghana Immigration Service. I am told there are 3 other unapproved routes used by visitors either to evade tax or for various mischievous reasons. We are told that at least 4 men are supposed to be on duty for a rotational period of 7 days with 1 pistol, which some residents describe as a toy gun. Some officers have expressed their disgust at the deplorable conditions in which they live and work, but for fear of disciplinary actions that would be taken against them by their superiors, they would rather remain silent. The situation is not any different at the Obuasi outpost in the Kajebi district. The worrying trend is that some settlements have developed behind the border post, and so it's difficult to tell who is coming in. There are several links to the town, which officers say is a difficult thing to manage. One of the men takes me to an unauthorized route close by. He tells me it's difficult to tell a visitor from an indigent. The 3rd outpost visited is the Ahumaso Pillar 83, which is also classified under the Nkwanta Sector Command. The situation here is almost a hopeless one, as this river separates the outpost from the unauthorized routes. This man provides the service of carrying people to the other side of the river. None of the men could swim when I asked those on duty at the time of our visit. This is the daunting task of defending a nation.
If you want to cross around this time, what do you do?
Oh, they are there to cross us. If they can't go, they will just tell us. Then we will use the main road.
The risk involved. The
commander in charge of the Nkwanta sector, did not agree to have a recorded conversation said that no serious threats have been recorded across his borders, but admits the borders are porous. He echoes one of his men's words, "Only God is watching over us." He also admitted having issues with motor riders from Togo entering Ghana and some community elders from same intervening whenever the riders breached the law. Mr. Fair has since been organizing security sensitization sessions for selected groups in the KJB township.
Peter Senu's report read to you. Now, tomorrow on Porous Borders, we'll tell you about the dilapidated structures in which these border officials live. Now, from the border situation in Oti region, let's go now to the Upper East region, specifically the Calveo Basic School, where school furniture is virtually non-existent. Pupils there are compelled to sit on stones to study. For those who find that uncomfortable and unbearable, they lie flat on their bellies to write. The plight of the children was brought to the fore by a citizen, Hilaria Dalu, who is founder of One City for Change. Here's what she found.
Hi, good morning. Good morning. How are you all? We are fine, thank you, Madam. I am in Calveo, a community within the Chana constituency, Upper East region, Ghana. This is the current state of the classrooms of the Calveo Basic School. Children have to sit on the floor to write and learn. This affects the learning activity greatly. Today, I am calling on governments, institutions, and individuals to please come to the aid of the school.
Well, One City for Change is partnering with the Joy FM Super Morning Show to bring relief to these pupils through a campaign to get 120 desks for the school. Hilaria Dalu spoke yesterday on the Super Morning Show.
If we must begin the change agenda, it means you have to look out for those who have service behind. And so when you look at the Kasana West District, Calveo is one of the very deprived communities within the Chana constituency. So it's one of the many communities in the Chana constituency, but that particular one is very deprived. It's one of the few communities within the district that has no electricity to date. And students have to walk miles just to get access to light to study. That what is even more interesting about the students that we interacted with is the fact that you have students who are ready for BEC. We have students who are in P6, who are in P4, who cannot assimilate a material, lower their grade. For example, if a student in P4 cannot assimilate a material in P2, a student ready to write the BEC finds it difficult to put together a simple salutation or a simple address. So some of these things are alarming, and in our engagement with the students, we realize that they aspire to be doctors like us, aspire to be lawyers, journalists, and what have you, other professions. And you ask yourself, how do they get there? Where is the opening? Where is the hope? Who is going to lead them to these areas or to these professions that they aspire to be?
Hilaria Dalu is founder of One City for Change. Do join the campaign on the Super Morning Show to get 120 desks for the Calveo Basic School. Let's stay in the Upper East region a while longer because President Akufo-Addo is on a 2-day tour of the region. Our Upper East correspondent Albert Sorry joins us on the phone lines with more on that visit. So Albert, we understand the president has been speaking about education. What exactly did he say?
MFR, the president was addressing students and teachers of the Bolgasanga Senior High School, where he talked about the success of the free HHS policy. And he has been saying that contrary to what his critics would have Ghanaians believe, he thinks that the policy has been largely successful and that this year more than 1 million more students will be admitted into senior high schools across the country. And because of that, he is hopeful that come 2020, based on this, his mandate would be renewed.
You cannot develop a country unless you develop its human capital. The central role of education in our national development can never be overemphasized. It is the key to the future of our country. And I have no hesitation in making it the central pillar of my government's administration. Because people are saying I'm spending a lot of money in education, and I'm saying to them, it is better that we spend the money on the future of Ghana than just consuming it. Before I became president, in my campaign, I said I was prepared to use the oil money to educate our children.
You heard that, President Akufo-Addo. Albert, you're still with us. So whilst the president is in your region for the next 2 days, what is he expected to be doing?
So we are currently at Benaba in the Boku West district. He is expected to be addressing the chiefs and people of the area shortly. From there, he will move to the Boku Central areas and the Timpani areas as well, where he will be meeting chiefs and people there as well. But one key thing a lot of people are expecting today is the fact that the Bolga-Boku road has been a major problem for the people of the region. And so most of the people who are gathered today are expecting to hear from the president one more time what is going to be done about this road. Tomorrow he is expected to be going to the Navrongo areas as well. And one area we are told he will be visiting will be the Tono Irrigation Dam, mainly because of the agri policies that this government also has.
You heard the Upper East Regional Correspondent, Albert Sorry. Now, the Akufo-Addo administration has served for more than 2.5 years. And if you often listen to Joy FM, you must have heard this.
I am still firmly committed to promoting free senior high school education.
I'm paying and I do.
Every district is going to have one factory unit and
what I done and I do.
Every constituency from next year onwards is going to get the equivalent of $1 million.
Will stabilize the sinking sea.
I'm in a great hurry.
Stories told in the voices of Ghanaians, the people whose lives you promised to transform. Mr. President.
And that's a new series on your superstation Joy 99.7 FM and the Joy News channel on Multi TV, tracking the promises made by this administration during the 2016 campaign. And as you heard there, it's titled Dear Nana Addo. To provide a few more details on this is features editor Fifi Kumsin, who joins me in studio. Fifi, first, why Dear Nana Addo?
Okay, so Dear Nana Addo, because this is a series playing back direct messages from the citizens to the president. Ordinary Ghanaians who heard and received the promises of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo ahead of the 2016 elections are now speaking, essentially giving their own assessment of their circumstances and the assurances they received from, if you like, the highest echelons of power. Now, it is important to know that for us at Joy News and Joy FM, for that matter, we only reflect the views of the society. So this has been a great opportunity for the people to speak to the president and could be an opportunity for the president and his ministers to address the concerns that these people are raising.
So what stories should we be expecting in the series?
Stories on various things. You know, the Akufo-Addo government indeed made some very great promises, from allocating $1 million to each constituency annually to providing quality, affordable housing for the people and kindergarten places for all 4-year-old children in the country. So essentially, the stories will look at these and more.
So when does it air?
This starts on the Joy News channel on Multi TV tomorrow at 7 p.m. It will be on Joy News Prime. That's the evening news. It will also be on the Super Morning Show in the course of the week.
That's our features editor, Fifi Kumsin, telling us more about Dear Nana Addo. Watch out for it. We'll take a quick break here on the Midday News. When we return, communications professor highlights frightening incidents under the Akufo-Addo government and calls on the president to reinforce his lifelong stance as an advocate of press freedom.
My name is Kwame Sefakai, and most of you know me as a media personality, but I am also a family man. The UMB mobile banking app, UMB Speed App, saves me so much time by letting me do almost all of my banking transactions on my phone. The cardless withdrawal feature allows me to withdraw cash from any UMB ATM without an ATM card. I can also pay bills, transfer money, request for a loan, invest money, and so much more. So now, I can spend less time at the bank and more time with the ones I love. Bank anywhere and anytime with a UMB mobile banking app, UMB Speed App, and get the time to do what you love most. Download the UMB Speed App from your Android, iOS, or Windows phone today. Call 0302-633-988 for more information. UMB Speed App, Digibank, let's go.
Kremasa, Ghana, so we correct Mason pa. A Yamikosi super, me a super Mason and Kasa. Because our job no and yet better. They won't see how beautiful and high quality your work is. That be what them they use believe you. That be why me too. It be only super cement at the use. Cement mu cement. Cement papa pa. Inti me cries in yina from because super. Because me the super cement and DVD ra.
Super cement is designed to ensure that your buildings stand strong for generations. Build with Supersem Cement. Build your dream. Build.
This is still the midday news. Let's do sports with Benedict Owusu.
Yes, sir. Now, the Ghana Football Association Normalization Committee has set September 5 as the new date for the Extraordinary Congress. Now, the date has been shifted from August 19, and according to the NC, this is to fully comply with relevant portions of the statutes of the GFA without ambiguity. There is more in the following report.
The NC, in its quest to fully comply with relevant provisions of the statute of the GFA without ambiguity, has rescheduled the Extraordinary Congress. According to a statement released by the NC, the rescheduling clears any ambiguity over interpretation of relevant provisions of the GFA statute by stakeholders regarding the number of days required for Extraordinary Congress, as well as the agenda for the Extraordinary Congress as earlier communicated. The rescheduling also offers the unique opportunity of welcoming to Ghana a FIFA representative as a special guest for this historic Congress. We are looking forward to welcoming our stakeholders for what is anticipated to be a very successful Congress towards the forward march of Ghana football.
That was my colleague Moses Yabue's report. Now, Asante Kotoko striker Abdul Fattah Safiu has joined Switch's side, second-tier side, that's Trailer Box FF, on an initial 4-month loan deal with an option to buy. Also, Neymar's return to Barcelona could take a step closer by a close of day-to-day with officials from Spain travelling to France for talks with Paris Saint-Germain. PSG are unlikely to sanction a sale unless they're able to recoup the £200 million they spent on Neymar in 2017. That's a sport.
Thank you very much, Benedict. Now, Communications Professor Kwame Karikari has called on President Akufo-Addo to reinforce his lifelong stance as an advocate of press freedom. The Dean of Communication Students at Wisconsin University said in spite of critical roles the president played to advance freedom of expression in Ghana, it is unfortunate that press freedom is currently under recession under his reign. He spoke to Evans Mensah on PM Express on the Joy News channel yesterday as part of our Defend Media Freedom campaign.
Apart from Rawlings' time as president in the Fourth Republic, when press freedom was really endangered, under Kufuor, under Atta Mills, under John Mahama, we've had a honeymoon. There hadn't been any major issues. The normal, or let's say the day-to-day things that happen against journalists have been mostly, and most of the time, the police. Yeah. You know, assaulting people left and right, seizing cameras, and, you know, behaving ignorantly. There have been, of course, since the Fourth Republic, a number of non-state actors who have also come into the terrain to create problems for journalists. One, and that's not really surprising, criminals. Yes. Regular criminals, like drug, pushers, who when they appear before court, try and assault journalists who want to take their images and so on. I suppose under democracy, all kinds of people have the freedom to express themselves, both in the good and bad directions. However, some of the developments under this particular government make us quite frightened. Okay. Because some of them are very new in our politics, like the assassination of Anas's second-hand man. No. It doesn't happen in this country. In the past, journalists who have died in the hands of the state, in prison and so on and so forth, but not somebody going and shooting somebody who's been trying to expose corruption. Yes.
You heard the head of Dean of Communication Studies at the Wisconsin University, Professor Kwame Karikari there. Now, the Board of Trustees of the National Cathedral says construction of the edifice will begin shortly if it receives what it describes as drawings of the facility. Secretary to the board, Reverend Victor Kusi-Boateng, says the cathedral is expected to cost not less than $100 million. He says once completed, the building will be a cash cow for the country, even though it will not be fully funded by the taxpayer. We'll hear from him shortly, but first, this report on tracking the progress of work on the cathedral project.
The purpose of the cathedral was to offer thanksgiving to the Almighty for his blessings to us as a nation and to address a missing link in the nation's architecture by building a church for national purposes.
President Akufo-Addo on March 6, 2018, at the launch and unveiling of the architectural design for the more than 5,000 capacity National Cathedral.
The pavilion of the church sits on top of it, really to be seen in the Accra skyline.
A national monument expected to house chapels, baptistry and mausoleum, as well as a 5,000-seat main auditorium, expandable to 15,000 people for national events and celebrations. This announcement was met with disapproval from various quarters.
I think that this is a cynical attempt by this government to hide behind religion, to recklessly dissipate state resources.
But President Akufo-Addo's response to the critics was emphatic.
I'm aware that there are some who do not share my views on this matter, but I'm comforted in my decision by the vast numbers of enthusiastic supporters of this project whose spiritual dimension is limitless.
In December 2018, Mr. Akufo-Addo will announce a personal contribution of 100,000 Ghana cedis towards the construction of the cathedral at the launch of a fundraiser. Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta, in his 2018 presentation of the budget statement, announced government will provide an undisclosed seed capital.
We'll bring you the full report in our subsequent bulletin, but we can now hear from Secretary to the Board of Trustees, Reverend Victor Kusi-Boateng, who has been responding to criticisms about the edifice.
You see, nobody can give us the specifics as to how much we are going to spend, but we have an idea. We are not going to spend anything less than $100 million. 90% of the buildings were all 1920 buildings. There was not a single brand new building that the judges were occupying. And don't forget this. We were dealing with judges, the judiciary, and not even a single one of them objected to it.
You have Reverend Victor Kusi-Boateng, Secretary to the Board of Trustees of the National Cathedral. Of course, the full interview will come up later in our subsequent bulletins. Some Ghanaians of the Ghana Manganese Company Limited chanting as the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources arrived to hear their concerns some minutes ago. The minister had announced the closure of the company over alleged mismanagement and loss of over $300 million loss in revenue to the state. Sometime last week, the minister made or reversed the announced closure. Here's Secretary of the Workers' Union, Mohammed Siba, saying they had planned to organize a demonstration over the decision.
The reopening of the mine was good for you as government, because we had planned seriously to demonstrate against the government for what you did. It's not because government has considered GMC for us to come back to work. It was good for you because the approach the ministry used in the first place was totally wrong.
Now, day 5 of the Ghana Grand Tour kicked off in grand style from the Modern City Hotel in Tamale as the Northern Regional Minister Salifu Said and members of his team hopped on their bikes to pedal alongside British High Commissioner Ian Walker as he exited the Northern Regional capital. It's a 1,000-kilometer bike ride to raise funds to support the plastic surgery and burns unit of the Kolebu Teaching Hospital. My colleague Kojo Yankson is traveling with the British High Commissioner. He sent this report earlier.
Cyclists don't get a lot of love in Accra. I mean, traffic is not very kind to them. Has that been your experience too?
Not any more than any other city, to be honest with you. I think you're right though. You got to be pretty road aware when you're cycling it. You got to. Yeah. That's not just Accra. I think it's everywhere, but it's certainly true in Accra. I think it's not. It's actually often the trotros.
Yeah. Wow, you really start to feel this in your calves when there's even the slightest incline.
Yeah, you don't notice in the car, do you?
No, not at all. It seems all flat when you're in the car. Indeed. Now, how have you found, the welcome of the people in all the places we've stopped since we began?
Everywhere has been just awesome. I think I have to say, cycling between the kind of bigger towns, we've been kind of obviously waving and saying hello to people. And there's a mixture of really warm kind of, hey, hello.
You heard the British High Commissioner interacting with my colleague Kujo Yankson. Now, in a spontaneous show of support, several members of the community hopped on their bikes to ride alongside the Ghana Grant team as they cruise through the streets of Tamale. You need to support this by donating a *700 *9# or on 0267 566 351 or StanChat bank account Grantor. You can support that as well. And that's it for the midday news here on Joy 99.7 FM. There's more news when you log on to myjoyonline.com. I am MFA Pao.